Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Chad Wolbers and I am the current chair of the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. And on behalf of myself, the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and our Executive Director, CEO, Molly Grover, would like to welcome you here to Dubuque Area's annual State of the City event. And today's sponsors, actually let's start first with our legislators that are in the house today. So we have Supervisor Harley Potoff. Harley, give a wave, there he is. And then on behalf of Congresswoman Hinson, we have Georgie Hilby. Nice to have you, Georgie. Representing the school board, Anderson Sancy. Hello, Anderson. And there's a rumor that the mayor may be here. So Mayor Brad Kavanaugh, thank you for being here. Yeah. And also, we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize and thank our sponsors. So first of all, we've got Diamond Joe Casino, Dubuque Bank and Trust, Hotel Julian Dubuque, Medical Associates Clinic and Health Plans, Midwest One, Q Casino and Resort, and the TH Media. And then with our platinum sponsors, we have 1,800 t-shirts, Anderson Window and Door, Digital Dubuque, Fidelity Bank and Trust, Honkamp PC, John Deere Dubuque Works, Mercy One, Queen Bee Radio, and Unity Point Finley Hospital. Just a couple of comments if I might first. Oh, it's one of my favorite songs. Your attendance here today demonstrates the business community's interest in our current and future economic growth and our commitment to bridge the gap between business and government. Thanks to our Mayor, Brad Kavanaugh, for agreeing to participate in our annual State of the City event. Some of you that know me, a lot of times when you greet me, I'll say I'm too blessed to be stressed. And today as I stand here, I absolutely feel blessed. Dubuque is blessed by the bluffs nestled in the Mississippi River. How scenic and how fortunate are we to live here. Blessed with a robust business climate. Blessed by engaged members and social contributors. We're also blessed with public-private partnerships that prioritize the greater good of our community as we pay testament today. And in addition, encouraged by thoughtful elected officials who lead our community with integrity and purpose. Leaders like our very own Mayor Brad Kavanaugh. Brad, just in case you don't know him, Brad is a social worker with over 20 years of experience working in a variety of practice settings with diverse populations. He spent the last decade at Loras College in Dubuque as an associate professor of social work and has been involved on various boards and commissions for years before making the leap to our city council. He holds a bachelor's degree in social work from the University of Iowa, go Hawks, and a master's degree in social work from St. Louis University. Brad and his wife Jennifer have 2 sons. Brad is indeed a dynamic leader with a vision for the future, and he is representing Dubuque not only on a state but on a national stage. Please welcome to the stage Mayor Brad Kavanaugh.
Oh, I hit the clicker. Sorry about that. And I lost my walk-up music. Where did that go? I had some good stuff planned. There's a fog machine and everything. Well, thank you all for being here today. I'm very excited to see you. I always am so thankful and impressed that we packed this room to have this discussion. And it's just wonderful to be here, and it's an honor to be here. And I'm really excited to share Dubuque's successes, opportunities, and challenges. I have this mic here. Everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, wonderful. Well, once again this year, I want to begin with some very important thank yous. So first, let's make sure that we take a moment to thank the Hotel Julian staff for their hospitality and service this morning. And next, please join me in thanking the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce. Molly and everyone at the Chamber, thank you for your continuing partnership in making this event possible every single year. I want to thank the entire City of Dubuque staff for their work that they do for us all every day of the year. It takes a lot to keep an entire city running at full speed, but most of all, it takes dedicated people who have chosen to answer the higher call of public service. Without these neighbors, friends, and family members of ours doing this essential work, Dubuque would not be what it is today. So thank you, City of Dubuque staff. Alongside city staff, there are the folks who have chosen to serve on a city board or commission and the countless numbers of volunteers who serve the community in so many ways. So let's join in thanking many of those who are in the room today and all who serve on boards and commissions and volunteer. I also want to be sure to mention some particular City of Dubuque staff members who must endure working with me more often than others. This includes City Manager Mike Van Milligan, Assistant City Manager Corey Burbach, City Clerk Adrian Breitfelder, Assistant City Clerk Trish Gleason, City Attorney Krenna Brumwell, Public Information Officer Randy Gale, Technical Grant Analyst Justin Tilchin, and Director of Strategic Partnerships Terry Goodman. I want to specifically thank each of you for your help, for helping me as I prepared these remarks, and for helping me serve to the best of my ability as mayor. So let's give them a round of applause, please. Of course, there are my city council colleagues, Rick Jones, David Resnick, Susan Farber, Laura Roussel, Danny Sprank, and Katie Wethel. I keep saying this over and over, and I keep doing that because it's the absolute truth. Our city council is one of the most dedicated, compassionate, and professional groups of people one could ever hope for. Thank you to each of them for their service to the Dubuque community. A couple more thank yous here, because I'm also incredibly thankful for the continuing partnerships that we share with our elected and appointed officials in Dubuque County, the state of Iowa, our capital in Washington, D.C. These partnerships are so essential to everything we do here in Dubuque, and I'm grateful to each of these individuals for their service. And finally, thank you to my amazing wife, Jennifer, who's joining us here today, and to our sons, Sam and Andrew, and my extended family, and those that I'm lucky enough to call my friends. Thank you for your unending support in this journey of service. Well, here we are again. Another year is behind us, and I have to tell you, we have so much to celebrate. I've never in my life been so excited to be a Dubuquer. The state of our city is truly strong. You may recall that last year I actually managed to work the subject of physics into my State of the City speech, discussing how cities in motion remain in motion, along with the risks of letting a city's momentum come to rest. I won't repeat this theme this year, but I will open with another brief physics reference. This one I'm going to credit to our acclaimed city manager, Mike Van Milligan. Throughout this past year, Mike has been fond of repeating a phrase that I think is a perfect precursor to my remarks today. And it goes something like this: buckle up, Dubuque, because we are about to reach escape velocity. I couldn't agree more. Today I'm going to outline the reasons why there has never been a more exciting time to live in Dubuque, Iowa. I'll share the many successes of this past year and the projects, initiatives, and partnerships behind these successes. I'll also share the challenges that lie ahead, because while we are in a period of growth and exciting change, we cannot afford to rest on our laurels at this moment. We must continue to push forward with all our might to create a thriving and vibrant future together. I have to be honest with you about something. Sitting down to write this speech this year was a bit more daunting than usual, because there is simply so much going on in our city right now. In fact, our city manager recently pointed out that in his 31 years in his role, he has never seen so many projects and initiatives happening in Dubuque at the same time. And you can see this, can't you? Just drive down any street in our downtown right now, and all over the city, really. You can see cranes, fences, work crews, new buildings and new facades. You can see freshly paved, freshly painted roads in all corners of the city. Even better, you can feel the energy all around us. It's everywhere, and it is very, very real. Now, I need you to stick with me for a bit, because I'm about to fire off a long list of measurable accomplishments in this past year. I'm going to illustrate how these successes directly impact our safety, our security, and our quality of life. Am I cutting out a little bit? Okay. I think I hear that. Just give me a moment here. Making sure that I'm... Okay. I'm going to try not to move anymore. I'm just going to stand here like this the whole time. So on the subject of safety, the City Council and the City of Dubuque staff have focused on public safety personnel, public safety programming, safe housing, and community-wide roadway improvements. This past year, we've taken great strides to further improve the already stellar public safety services we enjoy in the City of Dubuque. I'm going to begin with our work with the police department. Across the country, police departments are facing unprecedented challenges in hiring and retaining officers, and Dubuque is no exception. In an effort to combat this situation, my City Council colleagues and I approved multi-year pay increases across the entire department, including among supervisory ranks within the department. We implemented similar multi-year pay increases within the fire department as well. Our police department has continued to modernize policing for today's needs, fully implementing a new crisis intervention team to respond to community residents who need more than traditional police intervention. This approach involves active partnerships with many different community organizations and a holistic approach to crisis situations. Our fire department is nearing the end of a comprehensive study on fire station locations and processes. Through this study, the department will identify the most efficient and effective ways to answer calls for our residents in need as quickly as possible. And with the national accreditation for both our police and fire departments, and thanks to a dedicated, compassionate public safety personnel in police, fire, and emergency communications, we continue to live in one of the safest cities of our size in the United States. In the area of housing safety, residents spoke up this year with concerns about housing inspections in the City of Dubuque. They were concerned that too much time can lapse between inspections and safety violations might go unreported for too long, leaving too many of our residents living in potentially unsafe environments. Our Housing and Community Development Department took immediate action following these collaborative conversations with the community members and brilliantly found a solution. The City Council recently adopted a new inspection cycle that will allow every rental property in the city to undergo some form of inspection every 2 years. This is an incredible community-led improvement to living conditions in our city, and city staff and community members alike deserve credit for their excellent work on this effort. Finally, our Public Works and Engineering departments have taken on massive improvements in the past 2 years for road resurfacing and remarking efforts. Thanks to extra focus and funding from our City Council on roadway improvements and safety, we've been able to resurface and reconstruct several more miles of road than usual the past 2 years. Thankfully, in the year ahead, the City Council has once again prioritized the street improvement program to keep this essential work progressing. As we have further improved the safety of our community, we have carefully worked to guarantee our long-term security through resiliency, sustainability, and critical infrastructure. An essential component of any city's future security is the attraction, retention, and well-being of the city staff who serve the public every single day. As the pandemic upended every aspect of the workplace throughout almost every industry, the City of Dubuque, as an organization, has been no exception. The City Council made city workforce retention and attraction a priority last year. We've increased employee salaries to better attract workers in a highly competitive marketplace. We continue to work through a study of city wages and to keep our wages in line with comparable cities and industries. And the city has embarked on an extensive emotional intelligence training program to ensure a workplace culture that is as effective as it possibly can be. In making this a priority again this year, the City Council will remain focused on this important issue and keep working toward measurable results. We've continued in our relentless pursuit of additional housing throughout the community. The City Council has passed even more housing incentives this year to do all we can to get housing built and occupied as soon as possible. Since the time it was reported that Dubuque was 1,100 housing units short of where it needs to be to keep and grow our population, we've added over 2,400 units of housing, now in some stage of development. The City Council and the city staff will continue to explore the best ways to ensure this housing gets built now that it is approved, and we will do all we can to keep adding this essential community amenity. In the realm of physical infrastructure, the city has made continuous improvement on odor reduction efforts at the Water and Resource Recovery Plant. We've begun critical build-outs along the Catfish Creek Sanitary Sewer and several key sewer lift stations in the city. We've finally reached the funding tipping point to move forward on the B Branch Gates and Pumps project, and this is a vital piece of the B Branch project that will pump excess water out past the flood wall from the B Branch detention basin, ensuring we continue to fight against the devastating flooding that we have known all too well. me 1 second. We're going to get another mic up here because I know I'm cutting out too much. All right, got me now? All right, next step is I'm just going to come to you. I'm going to stand on a table and we're going to start shouting. And through successful advocacy and key partnerships with our federal representatives, our city secured a highly competitive $25 million raise grant to build a railroad overpass and a complete street network at the 14th Street and 16th Street corridor. Let's just say our engineering department is going to be a little bit busy for the next few years. And with this in mind, the City Council has continued to prioritize key infrastructure projects in the year ahead to keep the focus on our community's security. Finally, I want to touch on the way Dubuque has taken a giant leap forward on securing what we could call our human infrastructure. Through painstaking, innovative, and steadfast collaboration between the public and private sectors, Dubuque has found a way forward in providing childcare to Dubuque families. At the Bright Minds campus on Chavanel Road, the City of Dubuque, Dubuque County, Dubuque Community School District, State of Iowa, Greater Dubuque Development Corporation, and Dubuque Initiatives have joined forces to increase childcare availability in such a unique way that it has caught the immediate attention of other communities in the Midwest. In fact, next month, GDDC will welcome the Greater Des Moines Partnership to this campus to see how we manage to pull this off, and how they might make this work in their community. And today, I want to be sure to welcome some special guests that are accompanying GDDC throughout our city. Please join me in welcoming representatives from the city of Freeport, Illinois, and the Greater Freeport Partnership. Let's give them a round of applause, please, for joining us here this morning. They are visiting our community today to learn about this child care initiative and other projects we have going on, while also sharing their best practices with us. We sincerely appreciate your presence here today and your continuing partnership. One more note on child care, because the good news does not stop there. We're also seeing expansion in child care availability through Cottingham and Butler at their new facility, along with a new child care project in Dyersville, our neighbors right down the road. With all this growth, GDDC has secured key partnerships with regional businesses to fund an expansion of the child care workforce, further ensuring this essential community service for years to come. You still with me? I told you this was a lot, and it is. Well, buckle up, again, because I'm just getting to the fun stuff. On the Central Avenue corridor, we continue to prioritize housing, streetscape beautification, and business attraction to breathe new life into one of our community's true historical gems. We're moving forward with a major renovation of Five Flags Civic Center. We've seen an expansion and a re-energizing of neighborhood associations across the city, giving residents new opportunities to get involved and take ownership and pride in projects happening right in their own backyards. We have brand new bike lanes downtown with the intention to expand to other streets in the years ahead. The City Council has prioritized park maintenance and improvement in the coming year to keep our parks attractive and welcoming for all. And where do I even start on Chaplain Schmidt Island? A new hotel with a rooftop restaurant, a renovated casino, a brand new family fun zone coming soon, new amenities to enjoy the natural beauty of the island and the surrounding Mississippi River, a new biking and walking trail, a brand new amphitheater coming very, very soon, and so many more possibilities. This new expansion of beauty and excitement along our riverfront will make us the true gateway to Iowa. Speaking of tourism, we have even more to add to our already enviable list of local attractions like the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium, and the constant parade of riverboats that now grace our shoreline. For the first time in a long time, hotel developers have Dubuque in their radar, looking to play a role in this exciting tourism industry that we now foster. And a huge part of that excitement for visitors and residents alike stems from the newly energized private developments led by dedicated partners across our region. From breathtaking expansion plans at the Dubuque Museum of Art to passion projects like the 897 Central Park that just opened by Dubuque Forward, and of course, the Field of Dreams, which now has new life thanks to our friends at Dyersville Events. Everything I just mentioned leads to a better quality of life for all of us living here now, and everyone who we will welcome as new Dubuquers in the future. And everything I just mentioned is even more possible today than it was 2 weeks ago, thanks to one subject I still need to cover: the return of daily commercial air service. So far this morning, I've taken you on a pretty wild ride filled with many successes from the past year. For the next few minutes, I want to stick with this one subject because I believe it is one of the most important subjects in the year ahead. Since we lost daily air service to a major hub in 2022, community leaders and I have been working nonstop to get this service back. Returning daily air service to a major hub has always been the #1 goal, and that has never changed. Following on the hard work done for years by the Chamber Air Service Task Force, we formed the Commercial Air Service Team in early 2023. Since that time, a dedicated group of community leaders from various public and private entities have met every week to get service back to the Dubuque Regional Airport. This year, we formed an official nonprofit organization called DBQ Air, whose sole mission is to restore, maintain, and increase daily commercial air service at our airport. I want to take a moment now to thank these individuals specifically for their laser-focused dedication to this monumental task. Global Flight Solutions consultant Matt Skinner, Dubuque Regional Airport Director Todd Dulsing, Dubuque Regional Airport Commission Co-Chair Marianne Kurtz-Weber, Dubuque Area Chamber President and CEO Molly Grover, Chair of the Dubuque County Supervisors Harley Potoff, President and CEO of GDDC Rick Dickinson, Vice President of Business Services at GDDC Jason White, President and CEO of the Q Casino and DRA Alex Dixon, Travel Dubuque President and CEO Keith Ray, Travel Dubuque Vice President of Community Engagement Carrie Kelker, Vice President of Government and External Affairs at the Dubuque Area Chamber Claire Gill, Executive Assistant and Office Administrator at the Dubuque Area Chamber, Melissa Coakley, Dubuque City Manager Mike Van Milligan, City of Dubuque Director of Strategic Partnerships Terry Goodman, and City of Dubuque Public Information Officer Randy Gale. Beginning on November 4th, we will once again have service to a major hub, first at 6 days per week, just for a little bit, and then very soon, every single day. And I think that this team of people deserves a round of applause for their tireless work. So with this great news has come many questions. And I want to take a few minutes this morning just to answer some of those questions that I've heard most since we announced this great news just 2 weeks ago. So first, why this airline? Have we talked to other airlines to see if they can offer flights too? Yes. Community leaders working with our air service consultant have spoken with dozens of airlines that fly all over the country. And we've had these conversations with airlines almost weekly since losing service in 2022. What we have learned is that the airline industry has gone through a period of great disruption. In many ways, this disruption began all the way back with the tragedies of 9/11 and really intensified following the pandemic of 2020. Dubuque is not unique in facing this disruption, but we are definitely unique in losing all of our service at the airport. As we have spoken with many airlines, quite a few have actually shown some interest in beginning service in Dubuque someday. Just as we have done over the past 2 years, we will continue to speak as often as possible with every single airline that we can. Recently, it was one of these airlines, a smaller regional powerhouse out of Colorado called Denver Air Connection, that has jumped at the chance to be the first out of the gate in returning daily air service to our airport. With Denver Air, we will fly once again to Chicago O'Hare and connect everywhere in the world. Denver Air is as excited as we are to join forces. With a high-quality 50-seat jet, a dedicated gate at O'Hare, and, this is best of all, interline agreements with United, American, and very soon, Delta Airlines, where we can book one ticket, we can drive 10 minutes to our airport, park for free, check our bags one time here in Dubuque, go through security one time here in Dubuque, and simply catch our connection upon arrival at O'Hare and be on our way. I couldn't have imagined such a great situation for our first flight as we return commercial air service to a major hub from Dubuque. This is very good news. The next question I hear is, why this flight time? Why don't we have a morning flight or a flight at some other time of the day? It's a good question. But you need to keep in mind that Denver Air is adding us to their already existing schedule. It's kind of the way it's going to work for an airport that has lost all of its service like we have. And in doing so, they submitted several flight times that were later in the afternoon for us to choose from for our one daily flight that we're going to receive at this time. DBQ Air, working directly with Todd Dalsing and the airport staff, chose the flight time with the most possible connections once we land at O'Hare. Our reasoning went like this. If we only get one flight per day right now, let's maximize everyone's ability to connect to the most destinations possible. Trust me, we miss those multiple flights per day, and especially that morning flight. But as it stands at this very moment, this is the best possible flight time that we had to choose from. And it is the most connections available in those afternoon slots. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Another question I've heard is whether or not we are offering a minimum revenue guarantee to Denver Air for this flight. We are. And we're doing so with a grant that the airport has received from the FAA called the Small Community Air Service Development Grant. We call it SCASD. In fact, the reason we have this SCASD grant totaling nearly $2.1 million with our matching funds is because of the tireless advocacy of DBQ Air and other community leaders. Thanks to this advocacy, our federal partners at the FAA agreed to increase the amount of money in this grant so we could offer an amount to an airline that would actually get us to start flights. Paying a minimum revenue guarantee was always the plan with this SCASD grant. And please keep in mind that the more people who fly DBQ on this flight, the longer this minimum revenue guarantee will last us. One more thing I've heard from people mention is that the new flight is far more expensive than comparable flights at other airports. Well, it's not. Currently, at $129 for a direct flight to O'Hare from Dubuque, the cost of that flight is directly in line with the cost for a flight from other airports near us at that same time of day if you're making that connection. We know we must remain competitive in price for comparable flights, and we will continue to do all we can to make that happen. Finally, I've been asked this question: will we get more flights? Here's my confident answer to that question: yes, if we fly DBQ. We have to show our new partners at Denver Air and all other airlines that Dubuque needs and wants increased air service, and we want it right now. We can absolutely make this work, but we have to make it work together. And that means you, each and every one of you. I want to ask you to get on these flights when it's time for you to fly again. Tell your boss to make it a company-wide policy to fly DBQ first. Tell your parents to take those trips to Florida by flying DBQ. Tell every friend you have in Dubuque to fly DBQ when they go anywhere, and tell every friend outside of Dubuque that now is the time to visit you, and they should come here flying DBQ. You are the difference maker in all of this, and together we can make this first new daily flight successful. And then together we can add that morning flight that we want, and then we can add another flight, and then we can add another airline, and then we can add more flights until we are connected to everywhere else in the world just like we deserve. We can do this. We can do this. You can do this. I know we can. So while there is excitement surrounding the return of daily commercial air service to Dubuque, I have heard some nervousness about making it successful, and this is understandable, given our past challenges. I want to encourage you to keep asking questions and keep getting information so you know all the facts. Don't hesitate to call me or anyone that I just listed from that DBQ Air group, or anybody you can think of who might know the actual facts about what's going on with these flights at the Dubuque Regional Airport, and get those questions answered. It's okay to be nervous, and it's okay to have some questions. So let's work together to make sure that we're well informed. However, I've also heard in the midst of this discussion from some people who think that Dubuque should simply stop trying to have commercial air service at our airport. Instead, we should just get used to driving to the nearest regional airports to fly, or just drive to Chicago when we need to get on a plane. Statements like this indicate an alarming threat coming from within our community. The danger with a statement like this is that it is a losing attitude. This attitude is a trap, and if we fall into it, the outcomes cascade into a full-on disaster for our city. So let me illustrate what I mean by this. If this is your opinion, then you are also stating there are many other community benefits that we should simply give up. You're saying we really shouldn't have colleges in our city. Bringing young people into our community to learn new skills and become new community members and part of our workforce just doesn't really benefit Dubuque. You're saying we don't want any corporate headquarters here. In fact, we should just have fewer businesses in general. Let's just let our economy shrink to a size where we can manage it better without air service. You're saying this includes longtime Dubuque-based businesses in all sectors: manufacturing, industry, finance, service, and others. Why would we want these in our community anyway? Since we are okay with shrinking our economy and moving these businesses elsewhere, we can go ahead and let buildings throughout our community, in our downtown and other parts of the city, just sit vacant for the next few decades. There will be no need to worry about historic preservation anymore, or the upkeep of these vacant and abandoned shells. And tourism, let's just forget about it. We don't need people visiting our beautiful city. And if they really want to get here, let's just tell them they're going to have to work for it. Driving that extra hour and a half, at the very least, is just part of the charm of the trip. And if this is your attitude, you're saying that we are totally fine with losing population and losing visitors every year. And without all these people around, we simply won't need to worry about things like restaurants, stores, small businesses, parks, entertainment. We can stop spending so much time on these things and just let our city shrink. 80 miles. 80 miles. That's how far we have to drive to get on a plane right now. That's how far somebody has to drive to get here, to conduct business, to visit family, to visit friends, to visit our beautiful city. This is unacceptable. And to say that the people of Dubuque should just be fine with losing is unacceptable. We will not stand for it. As of today, there's only one other metropolitan statistical area in the whole United States where a person has to drive as far as a Dubuquer does to get on a plane. And it's the Air Force town of Del Rio, Texas. It's right on the Mexican border. Their nearest airport is actually in Mexico. I'll repeat that. Dubuque is one of 2 cities that has to drive as far as we do to get on a plane. 80 miles is unacceptable, and we are done being second-class citizens in this country. Absolutely done with it. We have a daunting task ahead of us. To get back to full service at the airport that we need, want, and deserve, we have to work together. I know we can do it because I know that you have what it takes. All the successes that I just listed demonstrate that we have the ability to get things done together. Even beyond air service, there is no shortage of challenges in the way of our success. Many of these challenges come to us from outside the boundaries of our city. While some of these external factors are more difficult for us to control, we can have influence on them by continuing to build strong partnerships outside of Dubuque. So before I close today, I want to take a moment to explore this further. One example of this is the importance of our partnership with our state legislature and the state of Iowa government. Now, I mentioned this last year, but I have a fear that our state government is heading down a dangerous path of big government, where laws that infringe upon local freedom are dictated from Des Moines to the residents of cities and towns across our state. This goes directly against our state constitution, where local freedom is enshrined, and it's enshrined for good reason. The people of Iowa are experts on their local communities. They know best how to build responsible local budgets, to spend their public tax money in fiscally responsible ways. We also build local consensus in our local cities and towns to identify what we want where we live. If our state legislature continues to take a one-size-fits-all approach through preemptive local laws, unfunded mandates, and arbitrary caps on local public revenue sources, then we will be running directly counter to the value of freedom that we hold dear as Iowans. The people of Dubuque know that we must strike a delicate financial balance with public money. and keep our tax burden in our community as low as it can possibly be. The City Council that represents the people of Dubuque knows this too. And we've demonstrated a successful track record of responsible budgeting, responsible spending, and responsible use of debt for years, and we will do so again in the year to come. At the same time, if we want to build a truly vibrant city, a truly resilient city, a strong, thriving, and successful city, we have to invest in this place that we love. I call on all of our local legislators, their legislative colleagues across the state, and our governor to keep working closely with us to maintain our local freedom. As the experts on our community, Dubuquers are your partners. I know we can find common ground with you that will allow us to live and work freely in our community. Another important and lasting partnership is with our federal government in Washington, D.C. The greatest modern challenge stemming from our nation's capital for a community our size is the sheer level of uncertainty in today's political environment. Will there be a government shutdown or will there not? Will Congress be able to find consensus and pass more than 27 laws in a single year? Who will be our next president? Because the difference in administrations will be starkly different depending on the outcome. In an environment swimming with this much uncertainty, true partnerships built on respect, honesty, and real collaboration are essential for Dubuque's continued success. It is our role at the local level to build professional relationships with our federal partners that keep them in touch with the realities of the people who are living here in our community, and then yield real results that benefit all of us. And at this, Dubuque has excelled. This is evident in the list of federal grants we have received in just the past 2 years. I'm going to list them out now. $16 million from Economic Development Administration and FEMA for the B Branch Gates and Pumps Project. $1 million from the Environmental Protection Agency for the Granger Creek Lift Station. Over $5 million in ARPA funding for the Bright Minds campus and the Schmidt Island Amphitheater. $100,000 from the National Endowment of Arts for the Voices and Dubuque Museum of Art. $1.5 million in urban forestry grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to plant 5,000 trees in the next 5 years with our friends at Dubuque Trees Forever. $200,000 from the U.S. Department of Justice to hire 2 mental health officers. $2.6 million from the U.S. Department of Transportation for dual bus route optimization and low-no emission EV buses. $4.5 million from the FAA for that SCASD grant I mentioned, along with solar and runway projects. $2 million in a SMART grant for our streets project that will optimize traffic flow throughout the city, and of course the $27 million that I already mentioned in a RAISE grant to build the 14th Street overpass and 16th Street corridor. You see, even when presented with challenges on a national scale, we find ways in Dubuque to get the job done. This is what gives me so much hope and excitement for our city's future. I'm convinced that we have reached a decisive moment in our history. What we all choose to do in our city right now will dramatically shape the next 20 years. When we work together, when we remain united in our cause, and we build our cause to build a sustainable, resilient city and an inclusive and equitable community where all are welcome, when we enter into honest, healthy, respectful discussion, where we truly listen to one another and reach understanding, when we imagine the Dubuque we want to create together and dedicate ourselves to making that vision a reality, that is how we will create a true masterpiece on the Mississippi. You can do it, and we can do it together. I want to thank you for joining me here today. Thank you for your commitment to our great community, and thank you for joining with me to make Dubuque even better in the years to come. May God bless you, and may God bless this great city. Thank you.
Well deserved, well deserved. So with that, just once again, thank you, Mayor Brad Kavanaugh. Fantastic job. I love the optimism. I love the positivity. Great job. Thanks again to the Julian staff. One more round of applause for them. Great job. And please, everybody, have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.